It's acres and move makers.
It's acres and move makers.
I deal with land flippers, acres and move makers, room shakers, big boys with huge paper, the newspapers. You can run but can't escape us. We winning with these flash green when they act racist. Success is so contagious.
Let's go. It's acres and move makers.
Welcome to Acres and Move Makers. My name is Ray.
My name is Jay.
And we are
the Acre Boys.
Today we want to explore the topic of, is the land space oversaturated?
Now, this is one of those topics that we love to talk about because we get a lot of questions, we get a lot of DMs, we get a lot of emails and different things like that. And that's a question that's always commonly asked, right? But we're here to tell you one thing, that the land space is not oversaturated, right? Let's take a state like let's say the Arkansas or whatever the case may be. I'm not particularly sure how many counties that they are in Arkansas, but if you go ahead and do a little research, go ahead and drop it down in the chat and let us know, right? I know for a fact there's over 60, right? So just dealing with that one particular state, do you think in your mind that land investing can be oversaturated? I'm gonna flip it around and talk about houses, right? When it comes to houses, right? How many houses are in the United States? How many times do actual houses change hands from one hand to another? Whether they're selling for a specific reason or they're just relocating or whatever the case may be, you have to understand that it's not saturated, right? So when we go into these markets, right, we're dealing all of the different states or all around the place. Here's one thing you always got to keep in mind when we're talking about land investing, and that's the point that look at the opportunity that is presented, because all throughout the United States there are so many parcels of land just sitting there waiting for our offer in order for us to actually come in to invest and do what we need to do as far as purchasing that property to keep for ourselves, or flipping the property, which we show how to do, and making massive profits based off of that transaction. So it is my opinion that the land space is not oversaturated. To be honest with you, it's prime time. These properties are going to continue to change hands all the time. The question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to be in position to go ahead and grab some of these properties to keep it for yourself, or do some actual land flipping? So when we talk about the questions that we get that come inside of our DMs, emails, for some strange reason, people think that there's a lack of property to buy. I need somebody out there to go ahead and look up a map. I don't care if you Google it or whatever the case may be. Pick any 3 states that you want, any 3 states, and type down in the chat how many counties that they are inside of those 3 states. If I was guessing, depending on the states that we choose, I would guess between those, there's probably over 300 within those actual 3 counties, which means there's an abundance of property to buy. Just put yourself in a position where you can go ahead and purchase. But again, it is not oversaturated.
Let me piggyback on that. Roughly there's around 3,200 counties throughout the country. Right. 3,200 counties. That's why when people ask us, well, what if we send out offers? What if everybody's sending out offers to the same place? Well, we cannot all buy the same land all at the same time. There's a lot of places. There's 3,200 counties. Me and him has been playing in one particular county or one particular state for over 5 years, and we haven't gotten halfway through the state. Still to this day, we haven't made it. In 5 years, we haven't made it all the way through the state. So when we're talking about an abundance of land, I like the fact that you brought up realtors in the housing market, because land follows the housing market. Sure. Once the housing market is hot, the land market is going to be hot. Now, let's paint this picture. Think about this. Take a real estate agent and they work in any particular county. Typically, a good real estate agent that's selling homes, they probably would work their market, their county, maybe the county to the left of them, maybe the county to the right of them. Let's just say the surrounding counties, whatever that may be. Anything outside of that, realtors usually have a certain distance that they want, or radius that they want to stay in, because they don't want to be driving 2 hours to the left, 2 hours to the right, and that's typically how it works. So if they're boxed in within a 2-hour confinement, How does a realtor have a successful career and sell houses for 20 to 30 years and retire from that industry?
Facts. Fact.
Because, as he stated, houses just change hands from one hand to another hand. Whether that's every year or every other 5 years or every other 10 years. Those houses go on the market, they go off the market. The land space does the exact same thing. The properties go on the market, they come off the market for whatever those reasons may be, especially recreational land. Because people use them, then once they're done using the properties, they put them back on the market. They had their time with it, now they want to cash out. Why do they want to cash out? Because usually, typically, in the land space, the property evaluation has appreciated. So now what they paid, I'll take my money back, I'm out of the deal, and then they move on to another venture. So when it comes to being oversaturated, this is still, especially from an investor standpoint, this is a ground floor opportunity. Rough numbers, there's about 2 million or 2.5 million realtors across the country. For all my stiflers, go do your own Google search, because you get these people who jump on here.
No, it's not. It's 10 more.
It's 10 more. It's 2.6.
Right.
So
get it right.
You can Google search it, but it's roughly somewhere around there. That's how many realtors it is across the country. They pull from a housing market somewhere around 500 million homes across the country. In our space, there's less than 10,000 land investors, right? Less than 10,000 land investors, and we pull from a housing market of 1.9 billion available acres. Half the country, 47% of America, is vacant, undeveloped. And if you may be thinking, for the rest of my stiflers, well, the undeveloped, that's not good land. Well, somebody wants it.
For sure.
That desert land out there that they're buying up for $1 million now, you thought it wasn't good land 20 years ago when it was just desert land. Now, if you look up Maricopa County, if you look up Phoenix, now it's fully built out and they're buying desert land for millions of dollars right now. So oversaturated? Absolutely not. It's not oversaturated. Let's kill that myth right here.
Yeah, for sure. And to touch on one more thing, right? A lot of times when we're comparing markets based off of the day zone market that we're looking at, sometimes that out of the city limits land, sometimes that rural land that you're talking about is moving just as fast as some of the markets inside in the rural, with the suburban and the urban land. So this is a matter of having the knowledge to see. Most investors, when they come in, they think that they're going to go ahead and reinvent the wheel or whatever the case may be. Those sellers are out there. They want to actually sell these properties, but how do you go about contacting them? How do you go about positioning the offer in front of them so they can go ahead and take your offer? Again, this business is not oversaturated. The land business in its whole, in totality, is not saturated. Even in the inside of the city limits, you got outside of the city limits. Outside of the city limits, there's even more land available, right? We spoke about recreational property. We spoke about different uses of property, whatever the case may be. Still to this day, number one selling property: hunting, fishing, camping, RVing. Those are the kind of properties that are trading hands. And most traditional investors, on top of all that, most traditional investors know nothing about dealing with those kind of areas. They are stuck on where the houses are being built, different things like that, on smaller lots, what are called infill lots. But when you go outside the city limits with all that undeveloped land, there's huge opportunities in that space, and that land right there is ready to trade hands from one to the next.
I think people get confused when we talk about oversaturated in this space, because most of us are from a suburban or urban area.
Yeah,
those areas are oversaturated,
right.
And you won't find a whole lot of vacant land in those spaces. Like, we live in New York. We don't see a whole lot of vacant land just in the middle of New York City.
Unless it's a park somewhere.
Yeah, or it's unusable, or things like that.
Right,
so when you're dealing in the city limits, then you're probably not going to just regularly see vacant land or large acreage land or plots of land just sitting around. But once you step out, as Jay said, once you step out of those city limits, if you go upstate New York, it gets rural and really quick.
Fast.
There's a vast amount of acreage that's out there for the taking, up there, waiting to be developed, waiting to be used for recreational uses. But you have to step outside of the confinements of the city limits, and that's where you'll find all of those things at.
For sure, y'all. So go ahead and like, follow, subscribe, all of that. Make sure that you support this channel. We're going to be coming with game, giving you insights on the land business, mindset, and all of those different things. So as we leaving out, you know the tagline, y'all. Invest in dirt.
It's clean way to make money.
Peace, y'all.